Hey fisherman, Aqua Duelist here, and as requested, I'm bringing an update to my worm deck here. But whoa, this isn't just worms, guys. This is Amazement worms. This is amazing worms because the Amazement engine is just stupidly good with these guys, and honestly, it gives them the boost I feel like worms just really needed. Worms aren't bad; they're outdated. Worms has a lot of bad monsters. Don't get me wrong, but um, worms are meta relevant at one point, and like I said, they're just outdated. Um, Even though most archetype is kind of bad, you guys get where I'm going with this. So, guys, without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump into this. If you aren't subscribed, go ahead and harpoon that subscribe button. Really helps the channel out. And starting off for the worm monsters, playing 3 copies of Worm X here. This guy, you basically want to, or you normal summon him, you're going to send Worm Yegin from deck to grave. And then, speaking of Yegin, playing 3 copies of Worm Yegin. So if Worm X is basically your only monster in the field, you special summon copy this from your graveyard and face down defense position. When he's flipped face up, you get that compulse effect, which is really nice. And then with both of them, if they're face up, your worms here can't be destroyed by battle, so that's pretty freaking cool. So yeah, basically your opponent attacks into it, he goes face up, now it can't be destroyed, so really nice. Next up, 3 copies of Worm Kartos. If he's flipped face up, you get to add like a level 4 low worm monster from deck to hand. Sucks that he's a flip. I wish he wasn't. He's kind of slow, but he's essentially kind of like another name. And this comboed with Meteorite gets some pretty crazy advantage. So yeah. All right, next up, 2 copies of Worm King. 2 is just enough. Even with 2, sometimes I still find myself bricking by drawing into 1. Never want to see him, but hey, if you do, you contribute 1 worm monster to basically summon him. So that's not terrible. He's got a non once per turn effect where you can distribute face up worm you control to destroy a card your opponent controls. So that's pretty nice. The fact that it's not once per turn is really awesome. So it would be cool if we got a Lost Art, but then it's not a dual terminal print. So at least we can get an updated text on this. That'd be nice. Because even the Konami database, he's not updated in their text. So yeah. So that's it for the worms. Now, going off to the other monster I play. 3 copies of Amazement Administrator. This guy, oh man, this thing is fucking bonkers. It's insane. So it's basically like a hand trap for trap decks. If a trap's activated, you special summon him, and then if your opponent summons a monster, you can equip a amazement trap from your deck to that monster. And then once per turn, you can banish Amazement, traps from your graveyard, and destroy that many cards your opponent controls. Can't remember if it's just cards or monsters. Yeah, just cards. Target and destroy them. So, it's stupid. This card kind of just does a lot. And going into what it can do, showing off the traps, which
we're just going to go into now.
Play 2 copies of Amazement Attraction Horror House here. So with this, you equip it to your opponent's monster, you get to Book of Moon it. If you equip it to one of your monsters, like if you draw it, it's kind of like an effect veiler in a sense, somewhat. It just negates effects at the end of the turn. But you're mostly going to be, using Administrator here for that. And then I also played 2 copies of Amazement Family Faces. So with this, you equip it to an opponent's monster, take control of it, effects negated, but gains 500. So, like, these, in conjunction with Administrator here, it's really stupid. So he can essentially be, like, a mind control almost. I was going to say Snatch Steal, but that's, I don't know, it's kind of like not the right card, I feel. Or, Book of Moon in a sense. So, I just think that Administrator here, just this package in general, does so much for Worms, because Worms are just they're pretty slow. They don't really have a lot of output when it comes to power, and they can their grind game isn't the best. So I feel like this just overall does a lot of things that just helps Worms with the issues they have. This is cracked. This whole package right here is crack. It's great for this deck. So now going on to the traps, we have 3 copies of W Nebula Meteorite. So with this, you basically flip up all, face down Worms, and then end phase, you basically flip them face down, and then draw cards up to the number, you flip face down. So, resets your Yagans, resets your Karthos. Getting those draws are really nice. So, this card's, stupidly good, but, it's stuck in Worms. But yeah, this thing is insane. It's crack. It's crack for Worms. For the other traps, 3 copies of Trap Trick. Basically gets us, our Meteorite here, or any other trap we need for the situation. The reason why I just play is because, it's 3 copies of any trap that we have that, you want, depending on the situation, and your opponent can't ash it, so that's really freaking good. So yeah. Then 3 copies of Warning Point. So the reason why I'm playing Warning Point is, honestly, with this, it's one of those cards where you basically hit your opponent at the right time, or their normal summon. With this, it basically just can stop plays. With this, basically, the monster just kind of has to sit there. They can't do anything with it. Its effects negated. They can't, use it for any extra mechanics. So it's essentially just kind of stuck there. With your traps, you really want to play higher impact cards with this because of just how slow Worms are. And from my experience, this card has honestly been a high impact card when you essentially know when to use it. That's one of the things with a lot of the traps that I play. They're high impact cards. I feel it's just you have to know when and where to use them. So most of these cards can actually just stop plays. So next up, 3 copies of Compulse here. Not a lot of people just expect it. Again, you can pulse the right thing, essentially, or just their starter card. You can basically just kind of win, or not win, but stop plays. And something too with when you have Administrator hand, let's say you just compulse their normal or special, whatever, or the first special, drop Administrator, and then you can essentially just use Administrator, take take one of their monsters essentially, or Book of Moon. That's stupidly good right there. So next up, 3 Judgment, because Judgment is just really good. It's just Judgment. There's not much else to really say. Honestly, if for trap decks, if you have the space, I think just 3 Judgment, automatically. Uh, Judgment, I feel like, is the better one for just trap-based decks, and then Strike is second. Alright, so I had 2 slots left, and I said to go with Titano Cider here. So with this, put on special summons in the extra deck, basically negate it, negate effects, make the attack 0. And then if your opponent special summons a monster from the extra deck, except the turn this was sent to grave, you essentially just get to reset it. So, my thought process behind this was, it's kind of like a Lost Win in a sense, but with this, you essentially can just infinitely reset it, which I do kind of like. I feel like in the long run for the grind game, this is just a better option. Even though this specifically says extra deck, whereas for Lost Win doesn't. It's been a hot minute since I used Lost Win. But Lost Win, you essentially can go 2 for 1 because you get to reset it, banish it when it leaves the fields. I think in the long run, this I just felt was better. And hitting opponents' extra deck monsters, because the extra deck is where all their important big monsters are for the most part. I just felt like it's a bit more impactful. So yeah, one of the things I do hate with Lost Win is the fact that your opponent can still link it off and such. So I think Warning Point is better, than Lost Win in a sense. It's really weird. I think like this with Warning Point is just better than Lost Win on its own. So yeah, that's kind of like my thought process there. If that makes sense to anyone. So that's it for the traps. Now going off to the spells. For spells, they're just draw power. 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. The reason why Extravagance I feel is just better than Prosperity in this deck particularly is because with this you get to go +2. Or +1, sorry, you draw 2, so +1. I think in the long run with this deck, considering how Worms alone, just standalone, are kind of, they're outdated, just getting that +1 is so much better for the long run for the grind game. So that's why I'm playing Pot of Extravagance. And then I played 3 copies of Pod Duality. What's really nice is when you have like both of these, because you just go Extravagance and then you can still activate Duality, which is really nice. Because the way Duality is worded, essentially, you're not going to be special summoning at all on your turn, pretty much, for the most part. So yeah, it doesn't hinder you whatsoever. Now, going on to the extra deck. So, for your extra deck, the only card you really need to be playing is, I feel, Time Thief Redoer. This just essentially has synergy with Worms, because you can essentially, X and Yegin make this, and then, this will essentially banish itself during, or you can use this to banish itself, and then you can essentially set yourself up for more X and Yegin plays and kind of, slowly, essentially gain field advantage, and being able to just take, opponent's top card of your opponent's deck, really stupid. Stolen all kinds of crazy crap. Triple Tactics Talents, Invocations and stuff. You name it, I pretty much stolen it. So, for the rest of the extra deck, you just want to play mainly XCs that kind of work more for your locals. I highly recommend Starleech Padanimo, honestly. He's not too bad. Basically just kind of like, change the opponent's monster attack to 0, ends up negating the effects. If he basically gets outed. You get to draw a card, so that's not really bad, honestly. Got Cowboy, actually another really good option. So those are just some options. Like I said, the only one you really need to be playing is, I feel, Time Thief Redoer. So, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this deck profile. Don't forget to harpoon that subscribe button, harpoon that like button, comment any comments y'all have. Link description down below to my Instagram. I will see y'all in the next video, guys.